So while we're sitting here waiting for some folks to show up, I just want to give you a brief overview of what we're doing. And um, I've decided that maybe one of the best ways to learn astrology and one of the most useful things we can do with astrology is learn a little bit about relationships and how to navigate them using astrology. So tonight is our launch, and the time now is 9:41. We're a little behind schedule. Um, and if you have any special requests as far as times that are better during the day or evening or days of the week to schedule this live chat, because we'll be doing this on a fairly regular basis, then by all means, send me an email, drop me a note in the comments so that we can kind of get this organized. So we have a couple people in the room. So does anybody have any questions? Make sure everything's working. It's also very quiet. So it's going to be a little awkward to have a talk without some talking. So I'm going to hit the mute button for a second and give you guys a chance to kind of catch up. We are discussing relationships, so it is just a completely open chat. So if you have any questions about anything, put it out there and let's see where the conversation goes. Okay, so it appears that my computer is misbehaving, so bear with. All right, what is the best way to possibly okay, possibly figure out a future mate on your chart? That's a good question. Okay, so when we're looking at a chart and we're trying to determine potential mates, it's a little tricky. So the first thing we have to understand is that when we pull in relationships, we're pulling in people who are mirrors of our consciousness. So all relationships are a reflection of our relationship with ourselves. So typically when we look for long-term relationships, we look at the seventh house because that will show us where the types of people we're most likely to gravitate to for very specific experiences. So for example, people who have earth signs on the seventh house are going to gravitate to more solid, reliable, predictable partners. They're going to want that sense of solidity, solidness about them. People with air signs on the seventh house are more likely to gravitate towards people who are more quicksilver and changeable and harder to pin down because they tend to keep things light and are a little harder to predict. So it keeps life interesting. No, we wouldn't use the midhaven when we're looking at partners. The midhaven is going to tell us a lot about our social status and our reputations in the world, and also our work, or what we are here to do in terms of outer world achievements. The fifth and the seventh house are your relationship houses. And it depends on the type of relationship that you're looking for. Now, some people will say that the eighth house also is a relationship house, um, but I would beg to differ. It's a little more complicated than that. So, it all everything we're doing is a relationship. We're having a relationship with our individual, a thing, an experience, or something out there. But the eighth house has a lot more to do with the support we receive from other people. It's not limited to our intimate romantic relationships. Um, and I know very often people will say that the eighth house is the house of sex, uh, because it's Scorpio's house. But that's again another gross misunderstanding and misinterpretation of that house and its applications. Because the fifth house and the seventh house, more the seventh than the fifth actually, is the house of sex and adult congress, as it were. Okay, so quiet. So we might make this very, very brief. I'm testing this, so I'm learning how this works. So my question for my one friend in the room who just left,